In this video, we're going to explore how the fossil record can provide evidence of evolution of life on Earth over Earth's history. To start, we need to have an understanding of what the process of evolution is. So to start, evolution is a theory that states that all living things that exist today developed from earlier organism types from the past. So to start off, the simplest forms of life began about 3.8 billion years ago, and since then, life has become more complex over time due to the process of evolution. So to show you an example, we're going to look at this diagram showing the evolution of the modern day horse. So to start off, 54 million years ago, we had an organism that is similar to the modern day horse that formed in the past. And as you get closer to the present, we have the modern day horse. Over time, starting with 54 million years ago at the bottom, to 28 million years ago, then to 17 million years ago, to present day, the horse has evolved over time into what we have today. So in the past, we call those ancestors. So the horse is similar to other species that lived in the past, but over time, it's evolved into what it has become today. It's not a living organism, but it's an example to show change over time, the evolution of the mobile phone. So to start off, on the left side, you have a really large phone that could only make phone calls. And as you go towards the right over time, you can see how the cell phone has changed dramatically over time. Now cell phones are able to not only play games and to text and make calls, but you can even access the internet, which of course was not always the case. So I'm just pointing out this third phone here. This is my favorite. This was one of my first cell phones when I was a kid, the Nokia. This thing was amazing. It was indestructible. You can drop it, nothing would happen. It had the best games on it, specifically a game called Snake, and also I loved the ringtones that came with the phone. But the bottom line is evolution. It shows a change over time and how cell phones, you keep getting better versions of themselves because over time the cell phone evolves and it takes ideas from previous phones and brings it into a new model and so on and so forth. And the same things happen with life. So here's an example of evolution of life from primates to humans. So over time, a lot of organisms walked on four legs. Evolution took over, and over time, new species evolved into species that can walk on two legs, which humans do. So it shows this change over a long period of time in life forms, and the life that we have that exists on Earth today relates and is related to life that existed in the past because of evolution. So the geologic timescale is something that we use to mark time periods in the past, and these time periods are specifically based on the life that existed at that time. So just like rock layers, these diagrams are structured so that the past is near the bottom of the diagram, and the most recent, the present, is near the top of the diagram. So each of these color-coded rows represents a different time period, and again, these periods are often based on the type of life that existed at that time. So to start off, we want to remember that this is going to help us look at evolution. Over time, life forms changed into new ones from past to present. That's the process of evolution. So to start off, this time period called the Cambrian, you had the first fishes that formed in the water, so life did start in the oceans. Over time, during the time period called the Silurian, you got the first land plants. Then eventually you got the first amphibians. Then after that, you got more trees to form, and then you had the first reptiles on Earth. Then moving closer to the present, a time period called the Triassic. That's where we had the first mammals on Earth and the first dinosaurs. After that, we had the Jurassic period. That's exactly where the title of the movie Jurassic Park comes from. That's when dinosaurs were really abundant, and you even had the first birds form. Later on, closer to the present, after the extinction of dinosaurs, you had mammals were really abundant on Earth. And then obviously closer to the present, in the period called the Quaternary, we had the evolution of humans. So this geologic timescale, in short, goes through how organisms have changed into different types over time, because of that process of evolution. So what we need to remember is the fossil record provides this evidence of evolution. We can see the evolution happening from one layer to the next, from past to present. It shows us how life evolved from more simple to more complex organisms over time. If you look at this diagram here, the bottom layer is an organism called a trilobite. Then in the layer above that, formed later, you had fish. Then eventually you had the evolution of dinosaurs, and then more recently you have early horses. So over time, each of the fossils in these rock layers show how life has developed and changed and evolved into different life forms.